This is the NETGEAR Orbi 970 Series Wi-Fi 7 mesh system. My first reaction after swapping it in was simple. Wow. I went from a solid Wi-Fi 6E setup to this, and the jump in close-range speed felt immediate. With a Wi-Fi 7 laptop a few feet from the router, I pulled multi-gig wireless numbers I'd only ever seen on Ethernet. Then the honeymoon got complicated. Over the next few weeks, I ran into bugs and stability quirks that reminded me this is bleeding-edge gear. From my experience, it delivers jaw-dropping performance when everything lines up, but it also asks for patience while the software and firmware catch up. On looks, the Orbi 970 has presence. Each unit is tall and hefty with a smooth, modern shell and a soft status light that stays off when things are normal. The shape isn't just for show. It helps the internal antennas push signal in all directions. Dimensions are about 11.6 by 5.7 by 5.2 inches, so these aren't tiny pucks you hide behind a plant. They take real shelf space and feel dense when you move them around. Ports are what I expect from something built for the multi-gig era. The router has a 10G internet port, a 10G LAN port, and 4 2.5G LANs. Each satellite adds a 10G LAN and two 2.5G LANs, which let me hardwire fast clients or run a 10G wired backhaul. There are no USB ports, which means no quick plug-in drive or printer sharing from the unit itself. Cooling is passive, and the shell runs warm to the touch during heavy use. That matters for reliability, which I'll get to. Setup through the Orbi app was quick for me the first time. The units come pre-paired, and the wizard walks through naming the network and getting online. One tip from my own learning, follow the app's order when powering things on. On a later setup, I jumped the gun and turned on a satellite early, and the app looped until I reset it. Once online, the system immediately flexed its Wi-Fi 7 features. Key features like multi-link operation let compatible devices use multiple bands at once, kind of like adding another lane to your traffic. 320 MHz channels on 6 GHz double the width of the road, and 4K QAM packs more data into each signal. In practice, sitting near the router, I saw over 2 Gbps to a Wi-Fi 7 laptop, and around 1.5 to 1.7 Gbps to a Wi-Fi 6E device. Latency felt snappy for gaming and video calls, and I could push multiple 4K streams while backing up files without stuttering. The satellites were the surprise. Orbi's Enhanced Dedicated Backhaul, the private wireless link between router and satellites, felt solid. With a satellite down the hall, I could still max my 1 to 2 Gbps internet plan from that room. When I ran a 10G wired backhaul, the whole system became even more consistent under heavy load. One quirk, though. Even with wired backhaul, the system still keeps a powerful wireless band reserved for backhaul, so you can't fully repurpose it for client devices. It didn't kill my speeds, but it's a design choice to know about if you're trying to squeeze every last megabit. Range is where expectations need a reality check. The kit is rated for up to 10,000 square feet and 200 devices, and signal does reach far. But the jaw-dropping speeds happen close to each node. As I moved 60 to 75 feet and a wall or two away, throughput dropped fast into the low hundreds of Mbps. That's fine for most tasks, but if you want multi-gig performance across a very large home, plan to use more satellites and place them closer than the marketing suggests. Now the part that will matter most to a lot of you, reliability. In my opinion, early firmware had rough edges. My iPhone 15 Pro would randomly drop Wi-Fi until I toggled it off and on. Every few days, I'd see a satellite light go purple and lose its link to the router, which meant a manual reboot. The main unit also ran hot. When I put a small USB fan on top of the router for active airflow, the random reboot stopped. That felt ridiculous on a premium system, but it worked. Later firmware updates helped, especially with Apple devices. After an RMA that swapped my original kit for a new set, stability improved a lot. Weeks went by with no crashes and no unexpected drops. From my experience, it was a mix of maturing firmware and a possibly faulty first unit. If you buy one and it's unstable after updates, I'd contact support sooner rather than later. Software is where I'm split. The app is simple and walks new users through everything, which I appreciate, but it's too basic for power users. I can't split the 2.4, 5, and 6 GHz bands into separate network names on the main SSID, so I can't manually steer devices without using a guest or IoT network as a workaround. I also miss deeper traffic stats and more advanced routing tools. NETGEAR Armor security is included for a year, which is nice, but ongoing Armor and premium parental controls are subscription-based. That adds to the cost over time. The part I like most is the raw capability. This system is a rocket when your devices and layout let it stretch. Key features that stood out to me are the 10G internet port for today's fastest fiber plans, multiple 2.5G and 10G LANs for wired gear, the quad-band setup that keeps the router satellite link fast even when the house is busy, and Wi-Fi 7 tricks like MLO and 320 MHz channels that actually show up as real speed on compatible clients. It handled everything I threw at it: 8K streaming tests, big cloud backups, VR, and a home full of smart devices. When the firmware settled and my hardware was stable, the day-to-day experience felt effortless, with low latency and instant app launches around the house. It also looks better than most mesh kits and doesn't scream network box, even though it takes up real space. In my opinion, the Orbi 970 is for early adopters who want the fastest possible wireless at close range and who won't flinch at tweaking placement, applying updates, and contacting support if needed. It's perfect for multi-gig internet, high-end workstations that can use 2.5G or 10G Ethernet, and homes with lots of modern Wi-Fi devices that can benefit from Wi-Fi 7. I'd recommend this for someone who values peak performance over everything else and is comfortable living on the cutting edge while the software continues to mature. If you just want set-and-forget stability and you don't own Wi-Fi 7 clients yet, you might wait or consider something less aggressive. Also factor in the size of the units, the lack of USB, and the ongoing subscriptions if you want the full suite of security and parental tools. In conclusion, the Orbi 970 delivers the kind of wireless speed that makes wired-level performance feel normal, as long as you're near a node and your devices are up to date. The trade-offs are real: big hardware, software that feels basic for enthusiasts, and early adopter quirks that may require a firmware update, extra cooling, or an RMA. From my experience, once dialed in, it's outstanding. If that balance makes sense for you, this is the most exciting Wi-Fi system I've used at home so far. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and drop your questions or your own Orbi 970 stories in the comments. Thank you for watching.